I didn't know what I was getting into. It started innocently enough. Curiosity got the best of me. I had heard whispers about the dark web, about its hidden corners and its deepest, most forbidden contents. But it was just talk, or so I thought. I had always been fascinated by technology, and as a programmer, I knew how to navigate the web's hidden depths. A few clicks, and I found myself staring at a page with a title that sent shivers down my spine. Black market auctions, exclusive listings. I had heard of these auctions before, stories from people who had visited the darker side of the internet, stories that were more like horror fiction than anything real. But this page was different. The design was minimal, no flashy logos or clickbait. It was stark, professional, like it had been built for one purpose and one purpose only. My pulse quickened as I scrolled down the page. It was a silent auction, but not for anything ordinary, not for items or objects. The bids were for people. The first listing caught my eye. Lot 001, male, 25 to 30, 5 feet 10 inches, brown hair, healthy. Starting bid, $300,000. I couldn't look away. The description didn't make sense. Healthy? A person being auctioned like a product? It felt like a sick joke. But as I scrolled further, the reality of what I was seeing began to sink in. Lot 002, female, 18, 5 feet 4 inches, blonde, no visible health issues. Starting bid, $500,000. I rubbed my eyes, trying to shake off the disbelief. This was a snuff film, right? Something I could laugh off. But it wasn't. Not this time. Each listing was worse than the last. Lot 007, male, 13, small build, healthy. Starting bid, $100,000. Lot 011, pregnant female, 6 months, in good condition. Starting bid, $1 million. Lot 015, female, 40 to 50, disheveled, abused. Starting bid, $250,000. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The prices kept increasing, and the people being sold seemed to vary. Children, teens, adults, pregnant women, elderly. Each entry had its own set of disturbing details: the physical condition of the individual, their age, their gender, their health status. But the worst part was the way the page operated. There was a bidding timer. Once the auction started for a lot, the timer would tick down, and if the price didn't meet the reserve, the lot would be closed, and the individual would be removed from the page. And then, I saw the live tab. Without thinking, I clicked. I didn't know what I expected, but I wasn't prepared for what came next. A stream appeared in front of me, a grainy, low-quality camera feed. At first, I couldn't see what was going on. The camera was shaky, and the room was dark. I could make out 2 figures, tied to chairs, struggling. A woman and a man. Both were covered in bruises, their faces swollen. Their clothes were torn and stained. The woman was crying softly. Lot 017, a voice came through the speakers. It was distorted, hard to understand, but the words sent chills down my spine. Starting bid, $800,000. I sat there, frozen. I felt my heart pounding in my chest. A bid started almost immediately. The numbers climbed rapidly, as if people were eager to claim them. I couldn't tear my eyes away. I had to know who was behind this, who was participating in these auctions. And then, the camera zoomed out. I could see the auctioneer now. A tall, well-dressed man in a suit, wearing gloves. His face was obscured by a mask, but his voice was cold, calculating. Lot 017, sold for $1.2 million. Next lot, please. A shiver ran down my spine. I tried to log out of the page, but my screen froze. I frantically clicked the mouse, but nothing happened. I was stuck, watching, as the next lot appeared. I could hear voices in the background. More people, more bidding. But this time, I noticed something else. There were more individuals tied to chairs. Their faces were blank, lifeless. They weren't struggling. They weren't crying. They were just waiting. The camera focused on the next lot, a teenage girl, no older than 15. She was standing, handcuffed to a pole. Her eyes were empty. She wasn't crying. She wasn't screaming. She was just staring at the camera, her expression blank, like she had accepted her fate. Lot 023, female, 15, healthy. Starting bid, $250,000. The bidding started, just like the others. But something was different this time. The auctioneer spoke again, his voice almost drowned out by the other voices in the background. Buyer ID 7643, you've been successfully approved for your lot. Please proceed with the transfer. I couldn't take it anymore. I closed my laptop, my hands shaking violently. I didn't know what was real anymore. I didn't know who was behind this, but I knew one thing. This was no longer some sick joke on the internet. This was real. I tried to tell myself it was all fake, that this was some deep-fake scam, but the numbers kept coming back to me. Those transactions, those bids, the cold, emotionless auctioneer. And then it hit me. The people behind these auctions were real. The transactions were real. They were selling lives. Days passed, and I couldn't shake the images from my mind. I couldn't stop thinking about what I had seen, what I had witnessed. And no matter how hard I tried to forget, the thoughts kept coming back. I started to see things, shadows moving just out of the corner of my eye, strange figures in dark alleyways, people watching me. I knew I was being paranoid, but I couldn't help it. And then the email started. The first one came in late at night, a subject line that made my stomach drop. "Bun, you were a witness. Don't forget your place." I opened the email, and there was nothing but a link. A link I had to click, I realized, because I had no other choice. I followed the link. It led me to another page. This one wasn't an auction, it was a gallery. The photos on the screen were enough to make me sick. People, their bodies mutilated beyond recognition, sprawled across dark rooms. Some had their faces removed, others were just piles of bloody flesh, unidentifiable. The description below each photo was even worse. Lot 032, female, 22, deceased, no known injuries. Lot 045, male, 30, missing organs, likely sold for experimentation. I stared at the screen, frozen in horror. The emails kept coming, each one worse than the last. "We know you saw, we know you're watching, you're next." I deleted every email, tried to erase the trail, but the messages kept coming, and with each new one, the fear grew. It wasn't just a threat anymore, it was a promise. Weeks went by, and the feeling of being watched never left. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on anything. I stopped leaving my house, terrified that someone would come for me. And then, one night, it happened. I heard a knock on the door. I looked through the peephole, but there was no one there, just a package sitting on my doorstep. I opened the package, my heart racing. Inside, I found a small camera and a note. "Next auction, your time is running out." I didn't know what to do anymore. I couldn't run, I couldn't hide. They knew where I lived. They knew everything about me. I wasn't just a witness anymore. I was a participant.